What's up, everybody? My name is Mystic. Welcome to my channel, Mystic Watch, and this is my first ever episode review, specifically an SAO episode review. So Season 3 just dropped, but before getting into the review itself, I just want to let you all know that I've been a huge fan of SAO, and I'm currently up to date with all the light novels. So there's like, I think 20, I don't know, there's like 20, 21 light novels currently out. Not all of them are translated into English. The latest ones are always in Japanese, but for the most part, I'm caught up, at least with what the English is out on. So I decided, you know what? Season 3 just dropped. Let me see if covering the anime is something that I want to do. So here's my first ever episode review. If you guys enjoy the content and you want to see more SAO in general, be sure to subscribe and like for more videos. And of course, any suggestions, leave them down below. So getting into the review itself, the first episode of SAO Season 3, also known as Alicization, premiered today as an hour-long special. Now, it was premiered worldwide, I think about 2 weeks ago. You know, if you could have went to some of the theaters out there if you paid and this and that. But for everyone on Crunchyroll and Funimation and those type of sites, it came out today. So since this is the first episode, it was 1 hour special, and due to that, the review itself will probably be slightly longer since there's more stuff to go over. The first thing I wanted to say about the episode is how great the animation looked. It was amazing. I was not expecting that. Like, I saw the trailer, and the trailer looked amazing. I'm like, maybe they're trying to like gas it up. But when the episode came out, all the fight scenes, everything just looked great. So it looked almost as if, like, if you guys watched the Ordinal Scale movie, it looked very similar to that. So I was very pleased with the animation. And yeah, just the scenery, the fighting, everything. Okay, so enough of that. Now the main thing about this, before getting into anything I want to go over, is that if you guys are not, you know, a fan of spoilers, even mild spoilers, like the tiniest of spoilers, just keep in mind that one thing to note is that the ending scene or the song and visuals that are played, they show, I wouldn't call them major spoilers by any means, but they definitely show things and they hint at things and they show partial spoilers to some of the stuff in the anime. So if you guys are, you know, unaware of that, that's something that I recommend avoiding. But yeah, so this is going to be the episode review. So if you haven't seen the episode, I recommend you watch it first, otherwise you're gonna know what's in the episode. Or maybe you don't want to watch the episode and you'd rather watch this. So, there you have it. Now, in the actual review itself, the first thing is, I'm definitely gonna be biased about this, but I love the episode. The episode was great for me. The pacing was fast. You know, the fact that they had to build a whole new setting and introduce new characters and designs, I didn't expect them to kind of get through everything that they did as fast as they managed to do it. So reading the light novels and coming from that, I definitely was like thinking like, how are they gonna do this, right? Light novels are very long, and I was not expecting, well, that's kind of, they're light novels, they're not that long, but I wasn't expecting them to get to at least this much of the story that fast. So they cut out some of the dialogue and some of the scenes, but there was nothing important that they cut out. You know, just minor things, some minor conversations that no one would know if they were actually gone. Now, for the first portion of the episode, we are given a new setting known as Underworld. This is a brand new virtual world that KIRITO later explains is created by the Soul Translator, or STL for short. There's a lot of information behind the concept of the STL and how it functions, so I already have plans to make a separate video breaking down how it works in its entirety. Besides that, in the first half of the episode, we are introduced with young KIRITO and a new character Yujiro, who are chopping away at this giant massive tree, also known as the Gigas Cedar. According to Yujiro, previous generation of workers have been chopping this tree down for 300 years while barely making a dent. And it's now Kirito's and Yujiro's job to continue the tradition. We are already being introduced to some character development within the first few minutes and some bonding between Kirito and Yujiro. This is pretty important considering that the whole season will be focused on these two for the most part, right? These two are going to be the main characters. So if you don't like Yujiro, that's not good, right? Right? Like him. After messing around a little bit, we're introduced to Alice, who brings lunch for all three of them. We see Kirito and Alice bring up the system menus. Kirito brings it up while he's looking at the Giga Cedar, and Alice brings it up while she's looking at the food itself. So this is the first element of the visual world that we are given. And in this menu, they can't see much. The only thing that they show us is the durability. Durability in their terms equates for life. So when they're looking at the Giga Cedar, we saw that Kirito was like, you know, how much life does this tree have, or how much life did it have before, and they only got 50 life down in over a few months. when the total life was like 223,000 or some massive number like that. And then when they're looking at the food, the life or the durability was a lot shorter since it's nothing, it's food. While eating, Kirito points out that the food Alice brings always seems to expire really fast, and together they come up with a plan to try to figure out how to get this food to last longer. So Kirito remembers the story of an old knight known as Berkuli. I think that's right, Berkuli. Either way, he was this knight that fought a dragon, and then, he ended up having to escape. But the whole point of it was that there was a cave, and it had ice around there. So they figure out that, if we get some ice, we can probably keep this food cold. And that's when they decide that, let's go to the mountains and get the ice. Now, during the same conversation, we're also introduced to the concept of the Taboo Index, which is essentially the law of the land. Anyone inhabiting the realm is to obey the index, and breaking it is considered a severe punishment. The index states that no one is allowed to cross the end mountain and step foot into the dark territory, but Alice points out that as long as they don't leave the cave itself, they wouldn't be considered crossing into the dark territory. Yu-Gi-Oh's pretty hesitant about this, but, they're like, okay, let's do it. Moving forward to when they arrive to the cave, we get to see some of the world's first magic system, also known as System Call. Alice uses this the first time when she illuminates a flower, giving them light so that they can actually walk down through the cave without it being too dark. Kirito mentions before, when they were walking towards the cave, how Alice is really busy in her studies and she hasn't been given a calling, which is essentially, a person's job, right? They're assigned something, then they have to do it, which is like how Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh have to chop down this tree. And she hasn't been given one so she can study and hone her sacred art skills. And this is something that they refer to. So when you see System Call, it's referred to their sacred art skills, and those two kind of go together. Either way, they proceed through the cave until they get to the section where everything seems to be covered in ice, and they find the remains of a dragon as well as some treasure. So when they see the dragon, Alice and Kirito point out that, it's not something that someone can measly kill a dragon, right? And the only person who can actually be capable of killing a dragon has to be an Integrity Knight. Besides that, they're looking around a little bit, and Kirito finds a blue rose sword that he tries to pull out, but it's really heavy. And he says that, even him and Yu-Gi-Oh together cannot take that sword. It's just too heavy for them. So after looking around a bit, the three of them pick up some ice and they begin to head out. They seem to get lost on the way back. They find an exit, but it's not the one they were expecting. They're looking out of a cave straight into the dark territory, where they see two people fighting each other on top of dragons. One being an Integrity Knight covered in white, his dragon white, he himself all white armor, and the other being a Dark Knight with, black dragon, black armor. So the animation of this fight was great. It wasn't even that long. Dragon shoots down the giant laser, fire beam, whatever you want to call it, and then Decibel, who's the name of the Integrity Knight, snipes him with an arrow. And overall, it was just a really nice foreshadowing of the animation quality that we're going to get, coming into the future episodes. Now, once this Dark Knight falls, he seems to reach out for Alice as a, plea of help, and instinctively Alice tries to move closer, but by doing so, she trips over a crack in the ground and falls forward. Unfortunately, the way Alice fell, the tips of her fingers were touching the dark territory. Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh rush to help Alice up when they see this giant floating head mumble off some codes, and then, he disappears. So they pick up Alice and they just head straight back for the village, and they head to bed. The next day, while cutting away, Kirito and Yu-Gi-Oh see the same Integrity Knight flying over them, and they know he's here for Alice. They run back to find everyone gathered in the square with the Integrity Knight, Decibel, who's here to bring Alice to the Axiom Church for breaking the Taboo Index. He notes that she'll be questioned and then executed for her crime, and in the spur of the moment, Kirito tries to save Alice by swinging his axe at the Integrity Knight, but just by looking at him, Decibel, tosses Kirito aside, knocks him back with some invisible energy, or whatever you want to call it, and Kirito gets thrown away. The one thing I really liked is that they really gave Decibel, or the Integrity Knight, a nice appearance of, this guy is powerful, he does not really care about what you got going on. They gave him nice armor, he has his dragon and everything, and the way, his voice and everything all matched really well to give him that nice, powerful look to him. So while this is going on, Yu-Gi-Oh is trying to help out as well, but he can't seem to help out. Alright, he's trying to move himself forward, but all of a sudden he gets stopped, and you can see this giant red error in his right eye. So that's something that you want to keep in mind, because this is some really big foreshadowing of what's going to come, in the following episodes. Now, right after that, Alice gets taken away. Yu-Gi-Oh stopped by the system. Kirito gets piled on by the top of the villagers, and that's it, right? Alice is gone. That's where the first half, it's actually a little bit more than the first half of the episode ends. So that's all of the Underworld we see for this episode, but it's like the main core of what went down, right? This is the main focus of the episode. So following that, it's kind of like a little relief from what just happened. We're immediately brought into GGO for a nice anime exclusive battle. I wouldn't really call this filler, but in terms of story progression, it doesn't really do much to add anything, but it was definitely nice to watch it, just to see the battle go down, overall the animation, and of course getting to see some of the characters again, right? You spent 30 minutes just watching Kirito, a little kid Kirito, with two people that you've never met before, and then you're wondering like what happened to everyone else. So this is kind of that, right? Refresh, give you some of the old cast. But like I said, it's not that big of a deal what happened here. It was just something that just watch and enjoy. After the whole GGO battle, Sinan mentions to Kirito and Asuna that she wants to speak with them the following day, so they decide to meet up at Aegil's shop. We get some nice development from Sinan. We get some nice one-on-one conversation between her and Kirito, and we get to see the progression as Sinan from when she was in season 2 of SAO to now. Now, when Asuna shows up, pretty much, long story short, Sinan is asking for their help in the next Battle of Bullets, which is the main competition in GGO. The conversation progresses to Kirito's new part-time job, which is working for Wrath and helping them experiment their new full dive machine known as the STL. I mentioned it before, but I'm not going to be explaining how it works in this video. I'll be making its own video for those who are curious about the new machine, because it is a pretty big deal and there's a lot of information going into it. So the big thing to note about this conversation is that Kirito states he has no memories of what happened in that world, meaning that the entire beginning half of what we saw, Kirito knows nothing about. And we kind of got a glimpse of this when he wakes up from the STL immediately after with a tear going down his face, and they kind of just pan out without giving us some more information. Soon after, they leave Aegil's shop and head out. Kirito and Asuna get some nice bonding moments while they're going over Kirito's future about heading to America to continue his study. Kirito asks Asuna, hey, can you come with me? I don't want to live without you. I can't live without you, and then so on and so forth. Then, during this conversation, this is when the good stuff happens. We get a mysterious figure, the skinny, little, it looks like he's got something up with him, might have been smoking a little bit too much of something, snorting a little bit of the good. So he comes up to Kirito and Asuna asking for the directions to the train station. So Kirito immediately understands the guy's motives and he steps in front of Asuna. The man is then revealed to be Johnny Black from the Laughing Coffin, so he's one of the people that is on the run, currently running away from all the murders that he's did, and he's seeking revenge against Kirito. He's holding the same injection that was used by Death Gun in Season 2, so if you guys don't remember this injection, the way it worked was that it was needleless, so that's why they couldn't trace, the cause of death whenever it happened. So, and we know that this is lethal, right? So if this hits Kirito, that's it, he's done for. So in an attempt to try to stop him, Kirito pulls out his umbrella, tries stabbing him, but as he makes contact with the umbrella, the injection makes contact with Kirito, and that's it. All we see him is lying on the floor. So the episode ends with, of course, a cliffhanger of Kirito mortally wounded. So let's see what's going to happen next week. The first episode gave us a lot of information in order to set the scene, but even then it was nice and fast paced. So to wrap things up, majority of the episode focused on the Underworld itself, and for those that were wondering, the whole season will continue to focus on Underworld. The GGO fight was definitely nice to watch, nice animation, nice refresh for most of the cast, but then we get slammed with a cliffhanger at the end with Kirito just dying on the street. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode and the review. If this is something you guys want more of, please show some support, and any suggestions, leave them down below. I'll see you all in the next one. Peace out.